Sure, you can try the video. Can you
Up to y'all.
put your camera
Oh,
on?
is that on me?
Well, I can't turn it back. I had this problem this morning, Wendy. I couldn't, when I
Oh,
muted you, I
enable your
couldn't
camera.
unmute you.
Accept.
Can you see if you can? Yep, there you are.
How's
So
that?
try talking
And
to us.
actually, that looks great.
Yeah, you look great.
Yeah.
Oh, perfect. So maybe it was. Oh my God, I swear it's been a difficult process starting to live in the States. I could get a gun at Walmart with no ID, but I can't get a postpaid phone bill. So I have T-Mobile prepaid, and I've got an internet service with somebody else, and just like it's a
Long, you've
disaster.
only been down there. You've only been down there for about a month, right?
Yeah, about a month and a half.
You know,
Yeah, it's crazy.
it is crazy. Wendy, I think I don't want to mess with anything.
No,
so
it's
why
great.
don't we just launch right into this? Normally we do an intro, which we can tape afterwards. But we've got so much to ask you. So
can you see me okay? Like, am I in?
Yeah,
frame?
you know, you're
Yeah, the shot's great and you sound great.
Yeah,
There's
you're
a
a very
fan over
cute
your head that's
man, by
making
the
me a
way.
little dizzy, but
Oh, I can do that.
okay, thank you.
So
I thought I'd try. Sorry, go ahead.
I was just gonna say you're a very cute man. At what
Thank
point did you say,
you.
yeah, you know you are. At what point did you say, wow, I could be a stunning woman?
Oh, you know, it was Halloween. I was like 16 because I was going out to the clubs underage because I guess that's what you do when you're 16 and gay and living in Ottawa. And so then my mom, who's actually really funny, she said to me the first day I came home after going to a gay bar for the fake ID, she was waiting for me and she was like, I will never forgive you for this. I said, what? I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. She went, you went to your first gay bar without me. And she was so mad at me. And so she put me in drag. So I guess my mom is my real drag mom. She made me a slutty nurse for Halloween. She was Marilyn Monroe. And we went out to the club. And then everyone was like, you look so good. You look so good. And I really didn't. Like, I was like totally busted. But everyone was like, oh my God, you look so good. You should try drag sometime. Like, you should do this, like, you know, you should do a show. And I said, oh yeah, maybe I'll try it out. And I did. And then I loved it. I loved the attention. I loved like just dressing up and just being so glamorous and, you know, dancing around to like my favorite song on stage with all my friends around. It was fun. And then it got like addicting. And I was like, ooh, I could do this all the time.
So when did you become I don't know if we're launching into the whole thing right now, but I want to know, when did you become Scarlett Bobo? Like when did you start doing that?
That started probably quickly after I started doing drag. So I did drag when I was like 16. So yeah, around 16, I was turning 17 because it was Halloween. And then I did a show and I had one of the Bobos paint me for the first time. So then they were like, well, and Tenora Bobo is my drag mother, and she wanted a daughter, so a drag daughter so bad. And Jeanette Bobo, who's like rest in peace, who is the head of the Bobos, like she started the whole Bobo family like 40 years ago. And she said, no, I don't want any more like Bobos running around.
I don't want any more children.
Yeah, she's like, no more. These are too much. And she said, please, please, just me. And then I came around, and I'm the most popular too, and the most pretty. But then they're like, well, Bobo's gonna be your last name, so what is gonna be your first name? And then Bobo's like Bobo the Clown. It's funny, it's silly. It means stupid in Spanish. And then Scarlett's kind of was like the sexy, like I thought Scarlett Johansson, Scarlett O'Hara, you know, Scarlet Letter, like just color red, and then it kind of just came to be, and then it just someone said Scarlett Bobo, and I said, yep, that's it.
There it is.
Oh, and there you be. Yeah, we were wondering how you were going to show up. Would you be like Scarlett with the wig and the lashes and the whatever? But you're kind of beautiful.
That's evening Scarlett.
That's evening Scarlett. So
Thank you.
Wendy and I were talking about, we've worked with drag shows. I've emceed events where the entertainment's been drag reviews, and back in the olden days, and I'm only talking about maybe 10, 20 years ago, drag queens were called female impersonators, and they almost, I mean, I'm just preaching to the choir here, but there was always a Tina Turner, there was a Barbara Streisand, there was a Dolly Parton, any
Yeah.
of these women. But now I feel I think certainly from watching RuPaul's Drag Race and so on, that you create your own persona now, a unique persona.
Yeah,
So
it's really, sorry, go ahead.
I was going to say, my question to you is, how is Scarlett different from you?
Well, so I do a lot of female impersonation, as well. But like the old school queens, like, that was their, like, they would go by their real name. Like they would be like Chris Edwards, or they'd be like Eddie Barnett. But Eddie Barnett was known for only doing Cher. Like she's like the most popular Cher in Canada, pretty much. Well, like at least in Ontario. And she was in Toronto. She had a whole career of just doing Cher. And so so that's kind of how, like, they taught me how to do drag, was like find people that you like admire and that you look up to, that like mean something to you, and kind of like try to embody them and impersonate them. And I definitely feel like that like shines through my drag a lot. Like I try to always be like my mom, my mother. I should always be like, Pink. Pink's really badass, and but then I love being like, I think of Marilyn Monroe because she was a big part of my life because my mom was a huge fan of hers. We've always had Marilyn Monroe photos everywhere, so that was kind of like my glamorous side. but then like but then kind of Scarlett became its own character. Like I feel like Scarlett's like a part of Maddie, but like she's got the balls to do everything that I don't.
Interesting.
You know what I mean?
Interesting.
Like, yeah, even though I tucked them away. Maybe that's why. Maybe putting them back inside me like turns into to make it like my superhero or something. I get super strength. I don't know.
Sure.
But yeah, like I feel like Scarlett's just like more daring and more out there, more loud, and and I it's funny how, sorry, I just got a notification my credit score went down. That's not fair. I was like, no, don't do that. I've been working so hard. Sorry, that totally threw me off. My ADHD
That's okay.
Yeah, I feel like as Maddie, I could be like kind of an introvert sometimes, and sometimes I just want to like tuck away in the corner and like be at home with my dog and my fiance. And but Bobo is like the big, loud, bigger than life, and it's what's the hair like? Once I see myself with the makeup and I throw the lashes on, the wig on, then it's like history. Like I'm just like, woo. Totally.
I was reading about RuPaul because we started researching and then went down a complete rabbit hole with RuPaul because I'm not sure he's really chosen a pronoun, but the quotes from him, from her, are amazing. I think one that I really loved was that we're all born naked and everything else is drag. And Maureen and I were talking about, like, I used to be an anchor on the news and I used to wear like false eyelashes and go into makeup and like, what's the difference really?
Honestly, like that's your drag, honey. You know what I mean? Like that's your way of like putting on like kind of like your it's like your war paint, right? Like and then you're gonna go take on the day and take on a job and take on whatever you do, take on the news, take on the world, take on a stage. So it's just like a heightened version of that, really. It's like, to me, drag, like anyone could do drag, and drag is in everybody. You know what I mean? Everybody on Halloween, like that's drag. You know what I mean? Like dressing up as your favorite character, or like your favorite. You know what I mean? Like how many Jessica Rabbits run around, or Harley Quinns run around during Halloween, right? So it's kind of like it is, yeah. Like we're all born naked, and the rest is drag, because everything can be drag, and drag is everything. It's such a show. It's a spectacle. It's exciting. You know what I mean? It's just here to like promote happiness and love and acceptance. And you can find that in everything.
You can, but this is okay. So just taking a more serious note to this, and somebody said, and it might have been RuPaul, because they're eminently quotable, but something to do with just putting on drag is being an activist. Mm-hmm. And yet you have found yourself taking this to the next level because what has happened, what has been happening over the last year or two, it goes back a little further, but now there's actual legislation in the States banning wearing drag anywhere where a child might see you. And here in Canada, of course, we've had people protesting a drag queen story hour, and you've been very involved with the NDP in passing, and it just seems so stupid that we need to pass a bill that will prevent
people
violent
attacking
and to prevent hate crime against drag queens. It's scary. So you say that Maddie's an introvert, but Scarlett's the one who's going to get up there and fight, and Scarlett has gotten up there and is fighting. Tell us about what you're doing.
Yeah, well, I feel I've always been an activist since I was younger. It's always felt like my mom always taught me just like everyone should feel love and everyone should feel respected and safe. And when I would see people from different minority groups, struggle and not have the same things that I had, even me by being in like a minority group as well, I was just like, this isn't fair. Like, why is it like this? Why can't it be like this? So I've always been just trying to do my part in changing the world little by little to, be a happier, safer place for myself and for others, for everybody. Everyone deserves a chance to feel and the opportunity to feel safe and respected. And so with this, sorry, you asked me how I got started. Sorry,
it's just how you got. So did you approach?
All right.
Kristen Wong-Tam was the one who sponsored the bill. Yeah, about making drag places safe, performances safe.
So my fiance Peter Maragos, he worked in politics for many, many, many years as an executive assistant to one of the MPPs, Hong Dong. And so through that, I met him. I met a bunch of political people through him. And then there'd be times where the politics and drag would kind of cross over. Like I hosted like the annual AIDS walk, and Mary Jo Tory was there, and Kristen Wong-Tam was there. And then so Peter started talking to Kristen, and then Kristen's like, "Who's this?" I'm like, "Oh, I'm Scarlett. I'm the host, but I'm also dating Peter." So we've kind of like always mixed together, and I was never very political. I was always like an activist, but Peter got me into politics, and and he knew Kristen, so he reached out to Kristen, and because I was just going on and on about how all these bills are popping up and how it's just like seeing drag go from underground to mainstream and then like going backwards again is just like blowing my head apart. So he was like, I don't want to see like this. Like, we're going to do something. We need to figure something out. And so he contacted Kristen's office, and Kristen and Merritt Stiles met with us, and we had a big list it was 3 pages long of every link and incident that's been going on in Canada, and not in Canada, sorry, just even in like the GTA. And and so she brought up this bill, and she said, we've been sitting on this for a minute, and we need some help pushing this out. And I was like, okay, let's go. I want to do this. I want to see this happen. And it is a blanket statement, and it is a blanket bill, but it's just so the government can like say, we're helping you. Like, yes, we are going to protect you if this is what it takes. Like, we baby steps, but the fact that we even need this at all is ridiculous.
It's ridiculous.
I find it really strange.
Someone tried to burn down a library with children inside it. Yeah, like because there was a drag story hour.
Where was this?
Like
in Tennessee.
I think that was that was like this. Sorry for my language. The shit is crazy, and it's like, and we're not doing anything wrong. We're just existing, and people are just so mad at us for nothing. I've been called groomer. I've been called a pedophile on like social media and stuff, and it's just like, what? Like, it's just it blows my mind.
I was really struck by, you say that growing up in Ottawa, I mean, obviously your mom has been really supportive, which is amazing. wants to go party with you, which is amazing.
Yeah. Oh, she loves it.
Yeah. But that when you were growing up, like 10 years ago, whatever, you still look young and
fresh.
Yeah, but that we've basically gone back, that you've like lost space, that you've lost respect, and that before you used to feel free to, well, not free, but you didn't, and now you're terrified. So what the hell is going on?
Yeah, like I remember starting doing drag like 16 years ago, and I like it was like in the basement, down the over there, down the hallway. Like it was all the gay clubs were always in the basement, or they were like tucked away in the alley or something, and it was all very underground. And oh my God, the amount of times I've been throwing beer bottles at me when I was younger because people would just not understand what this was. And then RuPaul's Drag Race came about, and then it brought drag into like the light. It brought drag to during the day. It brought drag to like mainstream media and TV, and then I'm touring around the world doing drag and doing what I love to do, and I never ever thought that would ever happen. And now that it is, like, that's cool, and I don't want to lose that, but I'm watching it, like I'm watching us like revert and go backwards, and it blows my mind. I cannot believe that we're actually like stepping backwards, and we have to have these bills. It's like we've been around forever on all your TVs and like billboards, and like I've been in a billboard like 3 times, Dundas, like I'm like, what? Why now? And I think it's a lot to do with this whole like Trump mafia, and now they're just so angry for anything, and they just want everything to be fucking boring and white and hetero, and if you test that limit even a little bit, that's it. You're a pedophile now. You're a groomer. You're this. Oh no, you're coming after our children. Like, what?
I think it's fear. I mean, a racist, a bigot, a homophobe, a transphobe, they all are angry, and anger comes from fear. I mean, I'm not going to.
They don't get it. Yeah.
They're afraid of something, and there's that old trope that you're homophobic because you're probably homosexual. I don't even think it's that simple. Although there may be some truth to that.
Yeah.
And you're afraid of attractions that are not social, that have not been socially condoned. Who knows what it is, but it is getting worse. Nobody really knows why. But it's not just drag queens, it's the trans community. It's anybody who identifies as queer. It's anybody who has a child who's queer. It's terrible, and it's a frightening world for people who are different. That's not a question. That's just me up on a soapbox.
Yeah, no, it's true, and especially right now, the trans community is under attack the most right now, and I think it stems from that. I think now they're looking at drag queens, and they're kind of putting everybody in one bubble. Like, oh, if you're a drag queen, if you're trans, if you're this, you're just evil, and they won't. They're not going to stop at all. So that's why we need these legislations. We need these terrible legislations to go away. We need these bills like Kristen Wantama's bill to go through, just so the government can say to us, like, we're okay, like, you know what I mean? Because if not, then people are just gonna, when these bills are getting passed, then it's just gonna give people the sense of like, oh, see, we were right. They are bad. Look, now the government thinks they're bad, so now they have to be bad.
I'm really struck by sort of the link in so many people's heads between sexuality, gender, drag queens, and all of that.
Trans people. Yeah. It's not one community.
And all of this stuff about being a groomer or being a pedophile, like, where on earth, like, did we not get rid of that? Because it was such a false characteristic that was a trope that was assigned to gay men, and I thought we got rid of that, but now it's back, and it's applied to drag queens, it's applied to trans people. The whole groomer pedophile, and I guess the whole story time thing is huge in Ontario. And I just wonder, like, I was trying to find a quasi intelligent statement from a protester who was bothered by the story time thing in libraries. And it says, this protester says, a drag queen is more appropriate for cabarets. It's up to parents to discuss sexuality with their children. Like, why does it always come back
to sexuality?
To and what do you say to that person? Is like, no, don't have a drag queen in the library.
It's crazy because like a drag queen dressing up like a Little Mermaid or Belle, like a drag queen dressing up as a fake make-believe character, reading books about fake things to children is not sexual at all. And the thing is, yes, parents should be the ones that talk to their kids about sexuality, but they don't. And the majority of parents don't, and they don't know how to, and they're not educated properly, and they just don't care enough to actually do what's right and talk to their children about this. And it's the parents that are bringing the kids to our story times. Like, they're the ones booking these story times, and they're the ones
making
organizing
their choices.
this.
Yeah, like they want
making their choices,
something different. It's not just straight
and
people.
Somehow it all came down on us, and it's like we showed up for a gig. We showed up, and you know.
But you're an activist
too.
You do want to make a difference. You do want to make people aware that there are other people.
It's just so crazy. It's how like some of these girls don't even get paid. They just do it out of the kindness of their heart and get up at 8 the crack of dawn and throw on makeup to go read to other people's kids because they enjoy doing things in their community. And it's just flipped around so much. And yes, like for instance, my drag, I usually do a cabaret show because my drag is more of an adult entertainment crowd. Do I have things for an all ages crowd? Of course I do. I have my characters and my funny bits and stuff like that. But you know, I choose to do that. And if parents want to expose their children to love, acceptance, happiness, then let them. And there are so many amazing drag artists that frequent storytime hours or all ages drag brunches, and it's amazing. And they love what they do, and they love the kids, and the parents love it. The kids are happy. The kids get all dressed up in their little princess costumes and stuff. And I've done a couple all ages brunches, and some of these kids like that have seen me on TV, like they go absolutely like bonkers, and it literally makes me cry. Like they're so adorable, and I just don't understand where this whole where this hate came from. And it's like, why do you care? It's not your kid. And I always keep saying to people, if you don't want to come, don't come. If you don't want to look at it, don't look at it. Like, then go home and leave us alone. We just want to be left alone. Like just literally go away. If you don't want your kid to be seeing that, then don't. But if that parent it wants to show their kids this or that, like I'm pretty sure I watch movies I shouldn't have when I was younger. You know, we've got parents throwing their little kids in bikinis and makeup and fake hair to do beauty pageants. Like
and that's normal.
You know? And then
that's weird.
When you're talking about sexualizing like children, it's like we're reading a storybook.
Yeah.
You know, and if you don't like it, then leave it alone. That's not your kid. Why are you talking about someone else's kid for? Like,
so is Canada bad? We hear about the ban in Tennessee.
It's getting quite bad.
Really?
Yeah, they've definitely started protesting. They've been breaking windows. They've been shouting like awful things. Like when out of libraries, like when parents and their kids come out of the library, they're yelling awful things in front of like young kids, like terrible slurs that like kids should never hear. It's like you're the ones endangering these children, not the parents trying to like get them away from a crazy mob of angry men yelling at children.
Are you scared again? Are you? Because
as a kid, I'm constantly looking over my shoulder now. But my mom put me in kickboxing when I was younger, and I continue to do kickboxing. So I'm okay. But I definitely look over my shoulder all the time now, and it's not a fun place to be in. It's like, and now like with the Pulse shooting, the anniversary was just 2 days ago, and the anniversary of the Pulse nightclub shooting, which was 49 of our brothers and sisters dead. And I'm scared. And living in 2 blocks up the street, there's a sign that says, "We don't call the police. No trespassing," with a gun on it. And I'm
Well,
like,
yeah, I know.
cool,
This is Los
America.
Angeles,
Like,
which is apparently, more liberal than other places, but
yeah, and I'm in
Yeah.
California. Like, but
No.
now I have to. Now, when I'm walking to a bar, I always look at my exits. I always look at where's my nearest exit. How can I get to the nearest exit? And sometimes I'm like paranoid, and I'm like, I will stand and dance and have my drink like by an exit. Like, that's
wow.
not the way that anyone should live their lives, and that's not
No.
fair.
Well, we thought
know?
everything was changing with RuPaul and everybody else with the sort of mainstreaming of it as an art form. Basically, it's just a
It is an
reality
art
show
form.
with a bit more glitter,
Yeah.
like really.
Yeah.
But it's worse now. And
Yeah, but the good thing is I was just talking to the Globe and Mail about this. I said back then it was just us that were fighting for us, and now we have you ladies, we have allies, we have so many other people that drag has shone in their lives, and just people have come up to you saying drag's changed my life, like straight women, straight men, like. I see dads with their little kids at drag con walking, and their little kids are like, "Oh my God, dad, that's so and so, that's so and so," and it's adorable. So there's more of us than there is them. Like, there's more allies now. There's more people on our side. There's more people that will take the time to listen to us and listen to what we have to say. And I think that's super important, that we're stronger together. Unity in the community, and our community is bigger and more colorful now, with so many allies from other minority groups, so many straight allies. It's changing. The world is still
Well,
changing.
that's what
And
Pride has accomplished a lot of that. Hey,
yeah,
can we ask you as a couple of, nice white middle-aged cisgendered ladies, can we ask you a
is this
couple
about eyelashes? I hope this
Yes.
is not about eyelashes.
No, it is a couple of things. How long does it take you to do a full makeup?
if I'm taking my time, probably like 2 hours. Like that's from like start to finish. Like
Yeah.
with my wig on and like with my outfit on. So I guess probably like an hour and a half with my makeup. I could do it quickly. Like, I could do like a quick half an hour face if I'm late, or if I need to. But yeah, usually I like to take my time because I like to look beautiful.
Of course.
So usually about like an hour and a half, I think.
Okay.
2 hours from like shaving to like ready to leave the door.
The whole thing. Wendy, jump in anytime. So where do you go shopping?
Where am I shopping for clothes?
Yeah, where do you for clothes?
Well, you're in
yeah.
LA now, so
Yeah.
Well, a lot of my clothes are custom. So I get a lot of my clothes from like custom designers. Like, I work with Jeff Christensen from Toronto a lot. I work with Howie B from LA. But then we at Santee Alley, we have Santee Alley in LA, and it's like drag heaven. Like, you can get like 12 pairs of lashes for like $10. I'm not kidding. And like you can get like the craziest shiny glitter hooker boots for like $30.
Wow.
So we love me some Santee Alley.
Okay, I'll make a note. So I can't wear high heels. Can you run in them? Because you might have to.
Oh yeah, I can run in them. Some of my shoes I call my running heels, because like I will be clumsy like walking around like in my flat shoes, but then once I'm in a heel,
Wow.
I don't know.
That's
I
a real
wear high
skill
heels
right
when
there.
I was younger.
Yeah, I could too. I could run. I remember Sarah Jessica Parker said her Manolos are like slippers. I'm like, really? I don't know if I would buy that. But yeah, I used to be able to wear them, all night. Now forget about it.
Yeah.
Who are your inspirations?
In general?
In drag.
Aside from Marilyn Monroe,
general.
sounds like
Yeah.
that she's still very much in the picture.
Definitely Marilyn, my mom, Pink, the artist Pink. I love comic books. I love Sailor Moon. All those girls really kept me going, inspired me. I love Harley Quinn. Harley Quinn's probably my favorite character. She's wacky and crazy, but nice, but psycho, but bad. I like I like strong women. I like you know, seeing like strong figures in pop culture. Beyonce, for instance, you know, just someone that fearless women of pop culture, you know, really inspire me.
And you're getting married.
Yes, I was supposed to be married in May 2020, and that
Oh
didn't
yeah,
happen.
yeah. My son
Is
was
this a
supposed to
COVID
be married.
thing?
Yeah, it was a COVID
Yeah.
thing.
And then when we tried to plan our wedding, I went on tour for like, we both went on tour for like almost a year. We were all out touring around the world. So then we kept pushing it back, pushing back. But now we're just debating going to Vegas. I'm
What,
getting my
no
mom on a
party?
plane.
Oh,
We're gonna have a
in
party.
Vegas.
But I'm thinking of just like, why don't we just like go do it in Vegas, and then like instead of having to plan a wedding, we can just plan like a big party back home in Toronto
Right.
with all of our friends, rather than like, I don't know. We're figuring it out.
You're figuring
Or
it
we
out.
might
It's
just,
like,
we
What's better then? Is it because you used to live in Toronto, I think, right? You grew up in Ottawa
yeah, for
and now you're in
13
LA.
13 years I was living in Toronto, and then I spent 3 years in Vancouver.
Yeah. So, I mean, why did you leave us?
because of show
Well, yeah,
business.
where are you? Where are you?
We're in Toronto.
Well, we're sort of extra. I'm not in Toronto anymore, but kind of grew up there.
Cool. Yeah, I got my work visa, and as soon as my work visa came in, I got like, whoa, my God, I can go work in the States, and I got really excited, and I've been coming to LA for 10 years, and the last couple of years have been really, really good for me here. Definitely, I think because of the show, but yeah,
Canada's
and a bunch
Drag
of my
Race, you mean?
yeah,
Because of the show,
yeah. Yeah, really shot me up in my career. And then all these opportunities for me were popping up in LA, and I've got a couple really good friends here and a nice core group of people. So it kind of just felt like I've done everything in Toronto for 13 years. I took over Vancouver for 3 years, and then I went back to Toronto for about like 8 months, a year. And I wanted to see like if I wanted to do Toronto again, and it just wasn't the same, and everything felt the same. Everything felt like I've done this, and I felt like I was repeating myself. And honestly, Hollywood was the next like thing. It was the next natural step for me to push myself and to do something scary. And now I'm living in Hollywood.
And you're a superstar. Well, yeah. No, it's lovely to see you. And this is Pride Month.
Happy Pride.
Thank you.
Yeah.
You too.
Yeah. So it's Pride. I didn't realize that it was all like everyone's heard of the raids, Stonewall, which was what 55 years ago. But that's why it's in June. I didn't realize because the parades are all different months depending on which city you.
It's also a good month for Pride, you know, because the weather's nice and.
I know. Do you know what's crazy? It has been gray all of June.
Oh, really?
In LA, and I'm like, I thought I moved to LA. Where is the sun? What is going on here?
I think you've brought it, Maddie. Thank you so much for talking to us.
Yeah,
finding the time. Good luck with everything, and let's hope that the world reopens to anybody who wants to be themselves.
And it will. It will. Mark my words. It will.
Yeah, you promise?
Thank you so much. Yes, and honestly, thank you for taking the time to talk with me and shining a light on these issues. It's really important.
No problem.
Allies like you both.
Yeah, it's great to have you on the show. Thank you.
Thank you.
Before you go, let me just flag this. All right, this is the intro to the Scarlett Bobo interview. Everybody loves a drag queen, or at least they used to.
A little bit of show voice there, which it was fine. Yeah, but at least they used to. It's so true, Maureen. Like maybe not everyone loves a drag queen anymore. There's a RuPaul, the Drag Race show, performers like Dame Edna, shows like Kinky Boots, Hairspray. They made a real difference. I thought we were getting somewhere.
Well, I thought, it goes back. Drag is not like the ballet Trocadero, the men who dance and Some Like It Hot, the movie.
Mrs. Doubtfire, that was
Tootsie.
a favorite.
That Tootsie with Dustin Hoffman.
Rocky Horror Picture Show.
And Hedwig and the Angry Inch. Have you seen that?
I haven't seen that, but I'm
it.
familiar with what it is.
Oh, it's so good. I did a couple of shows with drag queens. I wasn't with them. I was emceeing an event, and they were the entertainment. And drag queens are consummate performers. I mean, they look amazing. They tell me a lot about makeup. I can tell you that.
Yeah, but you know what? These are really they're dark times for drag queens, and the trans community in general. Anyone who identifies as queer, or people who want to support people who are identify as queer. There are legislative bans against drag people in the U.S. right now. I think in Tennessee in particular. It's unbelievable.
It's not just the U.S. Here in Canada, people have been protesting drag queen story hours. Where drag queens read to kids in libraries. And the whole point is to spread messages of inclusiveness and acceptance.
Yeah, so it's part of a way bigger problem, a growing lack of tolerance, and that's why we're really happy to speak to Scarlett Bobo. I don't know how she's going to show up. Whether
I don't know.
She's
Scarlett
in one.
Scarlett is a drag performer, born Matthew Cameron, originally from Ottawa, and Scarlett has been working to pass a provincial bill supported by the NDP here in Ontario that would prohibit acts of violence and intimidation near drag venues, which seems to be such obvious, but apparently a bill needs to be passed.
Yeah, so Scarlett's kind of a big deal. She's a drag performer, born Matthew Cameron, originally from Ottawa. Yeah. And they've been working to pass a provincial bill.
Okay, you just repeated what I said. Yeah. So we'll just do a little cut here. You also
I'm really shaky. Do you see me shaking?
No, just say Scarlett was also a top 3 finalist. We're almost there.
Okay, I'm sorry. I've just got to put down this piece of paper because I'm all shaky. Yeah. Scarlett was also, she was a top finalist. Top 3 finalists on season 1 of Canada's Drag Race. She helped create the Absolute Empire drag ball. No, I'm going to do that again. So Scarlett, she was also a top 3 finalist on season 1 of Canada's Drag Race. Kind of a big deal. She helped create Absolute Vodkas, their Empire Ball, Toronto's most inclusive drag competition. Kind of a cool thing.
So many questions. So Matthew has moved to LA. This is, I guess, Scarlett's alter ego. We'll find out which one is dominant. But just before we get to Scarlett, I put our names in the drag queen generator. Drag queen name generator.
Oh dear, this is old. Is this old timey?
Yeah. So it's just completely random. So I'm now known as a drag queen. My name would be Ophelia Macaroon.
Ophelia Macaroon. Well, that's not too bad. It's
too bad. What do you do? What yours
I don't know if you're gonna make a big career out of that. What am I?
You are Felicia Lepew. Bye-bye, Felicia. And hello to Scarlett Bobo.
Where do you cut in? I don't even know. Oh God. I'm
okay.
I'm
wait.
I don't know
we're gonna record an extra now. Okay.
Yeah, I'm just gonna get some water if that's okay. Sure. I don't know if I'm hyperglycemic or what's going on.
I'm just gonna end this one.
Very shaky.
She was lovely.
That's what we say about everybody. She was lovely. Yeah, she was lovely. Although she didn't appear as a she appeared as a they. I wasn't sure, because it's a lot of work putting on the wig and the eyelashes and everything. But yeah, Maddie.
I think Matthew is Maddie. Maddie is they and Scarlett is she. But they are, like we said off the top, wow, you're a really cute guy.
Yeah, who is sometimes a drag queen, often a drag queen, and I'm so glad that their mom has been so supportive. I mean, that's so cool. I mean, some of the best times I had were in gay clubs, but my kid, well, who knows, but it was so lovely to hear that she hasn't, they haven't had that battle.
No, and I think that's really important. I mean, I know that there are a lot of people out there who reject their children if they are trans or and I can't even imagine. I mean, I have 2 sons. They happen to, be straight. But I can't imagine ever having a problem if they were anything but.
Yeah.
And Maddie's such a lovely person. So I'm really glad that they have a wonderful mom and lots of fans and a wonderful fiance and a fantastic career. And hopefully
Well, it doesn't sound like being a runner-up on Canada's Drag Race has hurt them at all.
Not at all.
Yeah.
Not at all. No, they're pretty happy and getting married. A
Yeah.
lovely bride.
I know. Well, I'm going to call up the mom and see if we can get invited.
Yeah, that would be cool. Be in Toronto.